In today's video, I'll be walking you through a tool called Nmap. Nmap is one of the assets you always find in collection of tools of a penetration tester. Anybody doing cybersecurity, you always find Nmap uh, in this collection of tools. Now, I'll be walking you through this from a manual I built some years ago to see how it is. So the book is Mastering Nmap. It's both for offensive tactics for red teams and defensive strategies for blue team. So the book is rich. It's about 26 pages for the version 1.0 of this book, and I'll be walking you through that. So welcome to my channel. My name is Israel Great Mind Joshua, and I am one of the instructors in the Village Lab. So this video will be done. I'll be using the Village Lab that we have set up to, for the purpose of trainings like this. So stay with me as I walk you through the usage of Nmap. Now, this book is aimed to equip both red team and blue team with knowledge and practical skills needed for to leverage Nmap effectively. Now, I told you that this book is for this. In this video, I'll be showing you how red team use red team use Nmap and how blue team use Nmap. Now, for red team, we'll delve into advanced scanning techniques from basic port scanning to complex vulnerability detection. In this video, you will learn how to use Nmap to simulate real-world attack. You learn how to simulate real-world attacks. You identify weak points in network defense and redefine your exploitation strategies. That's for red team. Then for blue team, we'll focus on how to detect, how to analyze, and how to mitigate attack. You will gain insight on how Nmap scans appear on some of these same tools, some of these IDS tools that we have also used. So towards the end of the book, we also see some real-world examples, how to detail case studies. We see detailed case studies as well in the book, and practical exercise. You'll find them also in this book. This book offers hands-on approach to understanding and applying Nmap in both offensive and defensive contexts. It is for both beginners and professionals. It helps you to sharpen your skills. So journey with me as we, discover Nmap. Thank you. Now, for the context of beginner, what is Nmap? Nmap is short term for network mapping tools. It's a network mapping tool. It's a network mapping tool. So I'll be spinning up my virtual environment, my Proxmox. I'll be spinning up Proxmox. I'll be taking Proxmox is what we use for virtualization in the Village Lab. So I have Kali spinned up. I have about 19 operating system, 19 virtual machines rather, set up in this lab. But I'll be using Kali Linux because Kali Linux comes with the tool. It comes with the tools being built. It comes with Nmap set up on it. So I'll be using Kali Linux to do the demonstration. I'll be using Kali Linux. Yes. So here is my Kali Linux. I will pull up my terminal. First, I would like to know my IP address. IP-A. Please comment in the comment section what other command can I use to check my IP address for Linux operating systems. Please comment in the comment section. Let me see another command I can use. Currently, I use IP-A to get my IP address. I want to know my IP address. Why do we do this? Now, if you are on the same network with if you are on the same network and you want to scan that particular subnet, you will need to know your IP address to give you a clue of how the architecture of the network is. Now, for me here, I see that 192.168.125/24 20/24 is the subnet of this particular. So it gives me an overview of what possible number of IP address I can find in this particular subnet. It is 255. Possible IP address you can find here is 255. Yes. So usually what I do is, at this point, I would like to switch to my Windows machine and SSH into this computer. Yes, I would like to switch into my my Windows, where I will SSH into this operating system. What I mean by SSH is I will open a secure shell to connect to this computer. So I'll connect to it remotely. Since I already know the IP address, so I can connect to it remotely. I know the IP address, I know the username, and I also know the password because I was able to log in here. So it means I know the password. So I will just close this pop-up. I'll close this pop-up. Yeah, or rather okay, I'll close it. Then I will open my terminal. I will open my terminal. Open my terminal. CMD. This on my Windows machine. I'm doing this because I can zoom. So currently, this is a Windows machine. So if I do IP-A, I can't get my IP address because I'm on a Windows machine. So, but to get you don't actually need to know the IP address of this Windows machine to be able to connect to the Kali we are looking at. You only need to know the IP address of your destination. But for knowledge sake, can you tell me what is the command to get IP address for Windows? Can somebody remind me? Can somebody remind me, please? You can just type it in the comment section and I will pick it from there. But meanwhile, ipconfig, it will give you this. So you see that the IP address for this particular Windows machine is 192.168.100.112. That's the IP address for this machine. But that's not where we are going to. Let me clear my screen. Okay, CLS. Yes, I just clear my screen. Use CLS command, CLS to clear your screen. So what I want to do is to connect via SSH to the remote computer. That's the remote Kali Linux I want to use for this, demo session. Now, if you want to connect via SSH to it, so you state SSH, you give space, the username of the computer you want to connect to. If you remember vividly, the username is Kali. Let me bring it up so that you see what I'm talking about. The username is Kali. Now, this is what I'm talking about. You see that the username is Kali. This is the username at Kali. This is just fortunate that the name of the computer is Kali and the username is Kali. But this is the one you use, username at Kali. So now we are using, you say SSH, the username at the IP address 192.168.100. Can you remind me what is the IP address again? The IP address is 114. Just to let you see it, the IP address is 114. Can you? Oh, sorry. Oh, the IP address is 125. I beg your pardon, 125. So you come to here and type 125. So this is saying that SSH into 192.168.100.125 with this username. So this is the username you are using to SSH it. What it means is, you can have multiple users on a particular operating system. So we are using Kali at 192. So you just press it, enter. It's asking, are you sure you want to continue connecting? You say you should, if yes, you do yes, or no, you do no. But yes, I want to continue. So now it's asking me what is the password for Kali at this particular IP address. So I type my IP address. Take note when I type in, sorry, it's asking for password. When you type password in Linux environment, it doesn't show. So you type the password and believe you have typed, then you enter. Oh, great. Some very important information. So he said last login was Sunday, August 24th, by this time 2025, and you logged in from 119. That was the last time we remotely logged into this Kali system. That was the last time we logged in generally, not even remote. So so you can see that if it is not you that logged in at this point, you can always make it's a so now let's be sure we are in, although it's very clear here now that we are in Kali at Kali. We're already in. But let's see our IP address, IP-A. Oh, great. You see, we are in 125. We are in 125. We're in 125. So what we did now is we SSH into a remote computer. So that's how to SSH into it from the computer SSH we are trying to connect from. So now I'm using this Kali, which is in the virtual environment. I'm using it from my Windows machine. One of the reasons I did that is to be able to zoom this text so that it will be legible for us to see. Now, let's begin our scan properly. Now, for red team, that's for the offensive security. A red team operator, as red team operator, you will want to uncover vulnerabilities while remaining still. You will want to uncover vulnerabilities from machines while remaining still. That's, you want to do this without raising an eyebrow, without making noise. So below are the Nmap scans and how they help you gather intel and attack a target network. So the first we are looking at is what we call the ping sweep. It's also known as host discovery. The ping sweep is also known as host discovery. So the command is nmap-sn. Then because you are doing host discovery, you are going to be putting the entire, you are scanning the entire subnet. You are scanning the entire subnet. That's why you see 192.168.1.0.24. So this /24 it means you are scanning the entire subnet. And please, can someone tell me how many IP addresses do we have in this subnet? So it will scan the entire pool of IP address. It will scan the entire pool of IP address for this. So let's run that from this, since we're already in Kali. Let's run that here. So I hope you are seeing my screen. So what we'll do is say is nmap. Now take note. Anytime you type a name of a tool in Kali environment and it's installed, you'll see it change color. Although it depends on configuration, but the configuration comes by default like that. Anytime you type the name of a tool and you see it change color, like this, I'm typing nmap now, it's showing color. But if I type nmap or I type something else, you see it's not changing color. So that means that tool is not installed. So nmap-sn. The SN is stating that you should do a ping sweep. That is what is telling the Nmap to do a ping sweep on which subnet now? 192.168.100.0/24. So it's going to do an entire scan in this particular IP address. So let's do the hit. I've explained this is the name of the tool. You are asking it to do a ping sweep, and on this particular subnet. So you hit your enter. So this scan doesn't take time. It doesn't take time at all. So you see, it's telling me that I have about 13 hosts up on this particular IP address, on this particular subnet. Let me add two other. Give me a moment. Let me add two other devices so that let me just add two other devices. Okay, no, let's just continue. So you see, it's telling me that let's look at the report. It said starting Nmap. It said host report for 192.168.100.1. It said the host is up, and this is the latency, for doing that. I told you this particular scan doesn't take time. It's very fast, and it does that. So we'll see we'll see what it did in that particular when we get back. Now you see Nmap scan report for 100.100. So he found 100.101, 102, 103, 104, 105, 107, 109, 115, then 125 and 126. He now said about 13 hosts are up. So now what does this do? This is the same thing like doing a ping, like pinging a computer. If you remember, we can say ping, we can ping a particular computer 192.168.100.117. So this is to ping to see if this computer is connected, if it and reachable. That's if this particular IP address is connected and reachable. So you do a ping, you are pinging like this. So this is, you'll be getting reply if all things being equal, like 192.168.100.117, if the computer is up and is reachable without any firewall. So this is what it did in the entire pool of IP address in that particular class. That's what this particular command did. So what are the use case for this particular ping sweep? Now, you use this particular to identify live hosts on a network without port scanning. So you realize in our results, there's no port. You will not see that, you will not see listing of, the port, the state, and the service that is running on it. It's not showing that. There are ports that are up here. These are the states of, this is the port, the state of the port. Neither are you seeing the services that is running on it. So it is ideal for initial reconnaissance before targeting specific machine. So let's say now we have been able to scan we have been able to identify this, so we can now target a particular machine just like I did now to ping it to see what it is, what it looks like, or we can also run another Nmap scan to now see some things that are there, essentially some ports, the states, and also the services that run on them. So this is a sample result. We're actually seeing it live. So in the book, I put a snippet of a sample result in case you want to, you are going through, so you see it. So you see that this is exactly what we are getting as we also run this scan. Please, you can drop your questions in the comment section. I will always respond to them. So what really happened in this particular scan, the ping sweep? Don't forget, ping sweep is also known as post discovery. Now this can send an ICMP echo request, that which is called ping, just like I explained earlier. I send a ping request to all hosts in the subnet. It is useful for quick discovery. It is useful for quick discovery of live devices. Now, red team strategy. How do red team use this? They combine this with timing options like a -T naught or a -T1. This helps to evade detection. You can when you run an Nmap scan on an entire network, if there's IPS or IDS, if there's an IPS, yes, or there's the same setup, it can detect that you are running a scan on it. So, but when you put a -0 or a -1, it will evade that particular detection. So as red teamer, also to run this scan, you have to run behind a VPN. through a proxy to mask your IP address. So you are either running a VPN or you do it through a proxy, for to be able to mask your IP address. Now, the second command we are looking at is what we call TCP sync scan, or you call it a steal scan. So moving to our terminal, if you see the command is nmap-sn, then the targeted IP address. Now we are not looking at the entire subnet again, we are targeting a particular IP address. Now you can also scan, you can run this particular scan on the entire subnet. So it will just be, so tell me, how do I run this? In the comment section, please tell me, how do I run this command? How do I run this command targeting the entire subnet? I want you to comment write that in the comment section so that I will see if you are following. Now, how do I do this? So we are targeting a particular, this one is targeting a particular um, IP address, So we can just look at let's pick maybe probably let's say 104. So we can do nmap dash, what's the command again? SS steal scan. You're running a steal scan against 192.168.100. We said 104, right? So you can run this command. Oh, great. Now, if you encounter this, you say you requested a scan type which requires a root privilege. So you have to run this from a root user. So you do sudo, then you write the command, then you press enter. It's asking for password for this particular user, the sudo user you are doing. So I type my password. Remember, the password will not show. Just type and press enter. Good. So this is the result that comes out. It's a bit different from the first result. The first result just gave us host is up, nmap scan report for this, host is up. But now look at this result carefully. You will see that you say nmap scan result for 104. You say host is up, it gives you the latency. It now gives you the ports that are open, the state of the ports, and the services. Now port 22 is open, which run TCP, is open, and there's a service which is port, this is TCP, port 22 is TCP, and this is running an SSH. Now port 80 is also open and is running HTTP. Now, one beautiful thing about these two ports is that anytime they are open, anytime this port is open, it means you can SSH into 104. If you know the username, you know the password, then that means you can SSH into this. Now, for this HTTP, if it's open, that means there's a web interface. When you hit this particular IP address, there's a web interface that comes with it. So that you hit, let's see what that is. 104, that's 192.168.100.104. You enter. Oh, great. That means there's an Apache server set up in 104. I hope you are following. Now, see the IP address I typed in 104 and I hit this. And that's because HTTP, HTTP is open and enabled on this particular, that's HTTP is open and is enabled and open on this particular IP address we are talking about. So that being said, let me take this away. Now for SSH, you can also SSH into that computer. I can SSH from here. All I need to do is to SSH at if you know the name of the computer, the username, I think it should be GMD at 192.168.104. So if I hit enter here now, I am trying to SSH into that particular computer. So you see, it's already asking me for the password. It's asking me for the password. If I type the password, I will get into that computer. Oh, see, I got the password. So you see, I have moved from the Kali Linux that I was using. I'm back. I'm now into from the Kali Linux now. I have moved into this particular machine. So if you do IP-A here, you will see the IP address for this. You see, this is the machine I am in. If you do something like who am I? Who am I? You should see that I am GMD and I'm not Kali again. So, but let's quickly go back to where we are coming from. Oh, quit is not installed. Okay, exit. Yes, so we are back to, we have logged out. See, we have logged out of that Ubuntu machine. We have logged out. Use the exit command. Then we are back to where we used to be. So who am I? You see that I'm Kali. I'm in Kali. If you do IP-A, you see that you are still in your Kali. So quickly, let's continue our Nmap conversation. Now, what is the use case of this steal scan? A classic steal scan that sends sync packet to open port but doesn't complete the TCP three-way handshake, making it harder to detect. So what it does, if you understand the way communication is established on a network, you see that when a computer wants to establish connection with another device or a device to device, you will realize that the device will send a sync request, then there will be a sync acknowledge, then there will be another sync acknowledge to be able to complete the three-way handshake. So there's a message that is sent requesting to connect to from computer A to computer B, then computer B will respond to say, oh, okay, I'm alive. You now say, then this one will now send a confirmation that, okay, I got your last confirmation. So there's a three-way handshake. That is how connections are established on this. But for this TCP/SIG, it doesn't complete the three-way handshake. It doesn't complete the three-way handshake. It just send a request, and if you get a feedback, then it doesn't complete the three-way handshake for connection. So it makes it a bit harder for some tools to detect because it did not complete that three-way handshake. We have seen sample results on how they look like. Now, the sync can send only an initial packet, that's the sync packet, send them to open ports and see if there's a sync acknowledge, while close port reply with reset. So if you will send to the first 1,000 ports, that's it will send a sync request to the first 1,000 ports. If he gets a sync act from those then he knows that those ports are open. But if he gets an RST or a filtered, you will know that, oh, there's a restriction or on that particular port. So this allows you to map ports for that. So what are the strategies for red teamers? Now it uses sync scan while trying to remain undetected by network defenses like firewall and IDS. So I told you some tools doesn't complete that, but it depends on configuration and the rules that is being set. So it also for you to also evade detection, you can combine it with a -D option, that is to use a decoy, or -F to fragment your packet. So the packet doesn't go at once, it fragments the packet. Now, the third one we are looking at is a TCP connect scan, which is also known as a full TCP handshake. The difference between this one and the initial one we saw, that is still scan, is that it doesn't this complete and the other one doesn't complete the three-way handshake. So quickly, you see, we are still targeting just one particular IP address. So the command is nmap -st, that's st, then you put the targeted IP address. So we are doing nmap -st 192.168.100.104. So if I hit my enter, it's doing this. So it's giving me the same result. It looks like it's the same result, but for some other devices, It's I've told you so this completes a three-way handshake, but this one, the other one, the still scan does not complete a three-way handshake. So this is easier to detect by some tools. Why that's the still scan is more difficult to detect by some tools. Why this is not detectable. Let's use another IP address. Let's try 102 and see that 102. Let's see. I think 102 is up. It's part of the IP addresses that are up when we scan. Yes, 102 is up. So let's see what it looks like. Oh, now starting Nmap, seems down. Okay, 102 seems to be down. So we had. So that being said, let's look at. So this is how I told you the results is the same. So this scan send a sync request and receive a sync acknowledge and complete the three-way handshake, the three-way TCP handshake, making it more visible to your IDS, IPS to actually detect. So this is for red teamers, you use this after gaining initial access to confirm open services. You use this after you have gotten, and you can also pair this with banner grabbing, or you use -sv. This sv is to see the service version of what is the service version of these services that are up. We will soon get to that. So also there's also what we call, okay, let's run that. Let's run this adding an sv. That's if you run this with a -sv as well to do service detection. Let's see what service version, that service version detection, that's -sv. We're doing the still scan, and so if you look at the results we got from this scan now, this is where it started and this is what it is. So you see that there's another column that's been introduced. You see that there's version, the service that is running. You see the port, the state is open, the service that is running, and the service version. So this service version, this one is running an open SSH 8.2 P1 is Ubuntu. Then you see also running the HTTP is Apache HTTPD 2.4.41 is also running on it's an Ubuntu service. So that is what is so for this gives you a lot of information. You can take this up and begin to do some research on this particular service and the version that is running. So from there you will find a lot of vulnerabilities, and if it has not been patched on this particular operating system, you will be able to exploit this particular service, and you'll be able to exploit this particular machine through this service and this version that is running on it. We will cover that in another video when we start doing running exploits. So that's on SV, running an SV. Now there's what we call UDP scans. This is to discover open UDP ports. We have been looking at TCP. Now you can also run this sudo nmap, because this requires a sudo privilege nmap -su the targeted IP address to see the ports that are yes, the UDP ports that are open. So let's run that. Nmap -su 192.168.100.104. You run that. So can you tell me what the problem is? We did not put a sudo. I told you it requires a sudo user. So it's ought to pop up for IP. Sorry about that. So the scan is up. An SU scan used to take time. Yes, an SU scan used to take time to come up. An SU scan used to take time to come up. So when it comes up, the results will look like this. You see, that's where you start finding. You see the UDP ports that are open, the states, the UDP ports that are running, the states and the services that are on them. So UDP scan send packet to UDP port and wait for no reply, which means the port is open, or ICP unreachable, which means the port is closed. So since UDP doesn't establish a connection, it's slow and often noisy. So if you are doing this as a red teamer, this is the strategy you should deploy. Focus on misconfigured or weak UDP services, especially SNP and DNS. SNP and DNS, yes. Then use this to discover attack vector. Use this to discover attack vectors for lateral movement. So it is when you have gained access, then you can now use this for lateral movements, trying to move into that. It used to take time to come up, but this is sample results of how it looks this is sample results of what the results will look like. So it's still scanning, still scanning. Still scanning. It usually takes time to scan. So I think we have also seen this. We have run this. This was run. We ran this. So you can run this like this also to detect the service version running on a particular device. The use case is after discovering open ports, use this scan to determine what software version are running on those particular ports. This helps you to identify potential vulnerabilities. So this sample, we saw that from the scan we did, it's able to OpenSSH 8.1 that runs on that particular server. So the -v option perform a banner grabbing and additional analysis on service to detect their exact version. So when you get that particular when you get this result, we are looking at this particular one now. This -sv, though it's run, you combine with st here. So, but you can run it alone. You can run nmap -st 192, then the targeted IP address. Then this result now, you can take this particular result to see what we call CVE, Common Vulnerability Exposure Sites. We have the GHDB, Google Hacking Database. You can go and search for this particular CVEs and see if they are vulnerable. Yes, you can do that. You can go to sites like Google Hacking Database. So while we wait for that, let's look at Google Hacking GHDB and Google that. So you see this. So you can search for any vulnerability that is. So this is where you search for vulnerabilities. So you can see Open SSH. So you see there are these are vulnerabilities that yes, Open SSH is just I typed. So you can see this and you can now see how to exploit them. You can see if you want to exploit that particular you can see how to exploit them, with walkthroughs and documentation on how to exploit them. But that's not a video for today. But this SU used to take time, so please permit me to. Okay, let me just hold on a bit and see what comes out. It used to usually take time to come up. Usually takes time to do an SU scan. I think I will complete the scan when I'll complete the scan at the latter end. So I want to do this SV scan so that you see what I'm talking about. Okay, -SV. Take note, it's case sensitive. It's case sensitive. It's case sensitive. So you see, this is what you get. So I can copy this to my browser and search for vulnerabilities around it. You will see a lot of vulnerabilities that you can exploit in this particular. Yes, so it's telling us that you can see this is the vulnerability. This page lists all security vulnerability and it's fixed and the fix is released. So if there's a fix, you will find the fix here if it has been released. So if you update it, you will get the fix and that. Then you see how to exploit it. If you want to, for educational purpose, you also find how to exploit this particular um, this particular service we are talking about on this Ubuntu. So that's that about that. Now you can also combine this with Metasploit or public exploits. Yes, you can combine with Metasploit. I think we'll do a video too on Metasploit framework to be able to see how we can do that. Now, let's look at the next one. It's called an aggressive scan, a dash A. It's very aggressive, it's noisy. So what we do is you do nmap dash A 192.168.100.104. This is an aggressive scan. It's very aggressive, it's noisy, it comes with a lot of information, added to it. It will give it combines, you see, you get the service version of what it is, of what is running on this, and also help you in OS detection. So when it's still is not prioritized, use that's when hiding or when not making noise is not your priority. You use this option, this dash A option, to gather as much information as possible in one scan. It combines OS detection, version detection. You can also do script scanning and also a trace route. So you see things like the OS version, you see the ports that are open, the service that is running on them, and also this in one scan instead of doing a dash V separately. So you see and then you also see the trace routes. You also find the trace routes to see that. So an aggressive scans gather extensive data from operating systems, fingerprinting to open services. You also do trace route information, and potential vulnerabilities will also be displayed in this, like you are saying this particular service version. So for red team, it is ideal for post-compromise recon. If you have gained access, so I told you for lateral movement, you can use this because it doesn't makes noise a lot, and at this point, making noise is not what we making noise is not making noise rather is not prioritized. So it reveals detailed service that is running and operating systems information for further exploitation. Let's see our results. Yes, great. So look at it. It's from here. Now you see it's giving a lot of other information. This service version, you see it. Now there's SSH auth keys. This SSH auth keys that has been stored on the server because we have been SSHing to it. When you SSH, there's a key that is being generated at the point of connection. So this port is also open, and HTTP service is running on it, and this is the service version. Then also you see that it grabs the server header. I told us is this. It's the Ubuntu default page, Apache Ubuntu default page. It works. It actually got that. It works services info. So the OS is Linux. It's a Linux CPA. So that's what it detects. So service detection performed. Please report any incorrect result. And so that is that's about that particular. So if you want to target specifically the operating system, you want to get specifically the operating system. So you can do nmap dash O in uppercase, then 192.168.100.104. So you are targeting now. Your focus is getting the operating system that is running on it. So aside other information, you see that it gives you OS details. Linux 4.5 is within this range. The network distance is one hop. So this is giving us this. So let's perform an entire I hope this will not take time. An entire scan on our subnet. On our subnet, yes. Let's do that. Let's perform an entire scan on our subnet. This is actually an answer, a clue to the question I had asked before, that if you want to scan an entire subnet, how do you do that? So you see, I've provided the answer in this. So you do an Nmap, um, scan dash to scan an entire subnet. So here we are, we have the results already out. So you see that it's a 19 hosts is up, and let's quickly see what results we have of them all. This is where the scan started. This is where it started. You see dot one dot 100 100.1 is it shows us port, state, and service that is running. Then you see the MAC address of the particular. So you see that is a TP link device. It's a TP link device. Remember, I told you that if port 80 is up, it means if you hit this particular IP address, it will take you to a web interface. So let's try that for this. In most cases, you take, oh wow, so this is my router I use in in the village lab. So you can log in and do that. So well, that's just by the way for this video. So um, next is Nmap scan for it scan 100.2, which happen to be, this is the MAC address. Is showing that Hollet packet, is an HP device, which happens to be the IP address to the server. If you remember, when I wanted to log into my Proxmox, I actually use 192.168.100.2. Then I put the port address to be able to power the Proxmox. So you see that it's a Linux-based operating system. You will see some other information, there. It's a lot of other material. So 100.100, you see that TCP port is open, and this. So carefully, you realize that is giving you the OS details. That's most the important information we are picking out here. So 100.101 also gives us all these information. Most of these operating systems are Linux-based operating system. So you see 102 as well. You are seeing 103, information about 103, 102, 102. What is on 102? Because I'm seeing this port open as well. 103, you see just SSH is open. This is MAC address. The operating system is unknown. Sorry, the name of the device is unknown. The name of the device make brand is unknown. It's unknown. Then for 104, both ports are open. It's also Linux based operating system. I'm looking for the one that mentioned Windows. So for this particular, I said there are too many fingerprints matched for that. Then for 107, SSH is up. 109 is unknown. Then for some of these, okay, we'll run a script scan as well. So although I don't want this video to be too long, for the purpose, of for one seat. Now, this 110, all ports are even, all first 1000 ports seems to be closed. Not sure 1000 ports seems to be closed. Then 112 also, 114 is an HP package. 114 is actually one of it's another machine on this network. It's not a virtual machine. It's another machine that runs Linux on a bare metal. Then this 115, 115, 117. Okay, 120, 121. Then okay, so yes, 121 is running a Windows machine. You can see this. So this is what I've been looking for. The Windows, one of the Windows machine that are up in the in this entire this 121. Who is 121? Okay, one of the Windows machine that are up. So that's that about the results of OS detection. Now this scan compares packets response against database of operating systems to determine the target operating system. For red team, the target OS specific vulnerabilities, SMB vulnerabilities for Windows, kernel, kernel exploits for Linux. So it helps you to know which kind of vulnerabilities are available on this particular OS. Then you can now streamline your attack on them. Now the number 8 for red teamers is TCP ACK scan. It's a -SA. The command is -SA, then the targeted IP address. It is used to detect firewall rules and identify which ports are filtered or allowed. This is used to detect that. So yes, let's run it against dash, -SA against 104 against 104. So you see that host is up, all these campus are ignored states. So that means these states there are no let's see if we see another one that can have other response so that we can use that. So I'm scanning the entire subnet, which will likely take some time. So let's look at, so these are how the sample results looks like. So it sent an ACK scan. It sent an ACK, yes. ACK scans are useful to map out firewalls rules by sending an ACK packet and analyzing responses, which is categorized into unfiltered and filtered ports. So for red teamer, you use this to identify which port allowed through a firewall, and once found, leverage them for further exploitation. So you will see it's taking time to come up. It's taking time to come up. So let's so you leverage this as an red teamer to be able to gain advantage, to know the ports that will allow you go in without the ports that are not behind a firewall. You will be able to identify that, and it will make your work more easy to give you focus on how to go about them. So because I'm scanning the entire subnet, it's taking time. Oh, great, it's through. So look at the results. Now, the first one is one you see that this ports 1000 unfiltered TCP ports. They are unfiltered ports. That's for the TCP link, the device. That's 1.1. Then dot 2, you see that this port 22 is up and this is unfiltered. That's SSH is unfiltered. So it means I can SSH into this particular server. So you see that this is also unfiltered TCP ports. You see that. So this is, you are finding these all 1000 ports also are unfiltered. You keep that. So I'm looking for one that is filtered. Okay, there won't be any. Okay, that firewall is not up. So this is a detailed result of that particular scan. It's a detailed result of that particular scan. I think dot one gives us a perfect result to what we look for on that. Thank you. So next is the null fin and xmas scan. This is for firewall invasion. This is for firewall invasion. So this null scan sends a packet with no flags. Then this is the command. Then the fin scan sends packets with only a fin, with the fin flag. This is -SF, this one is -SN, this is SF, and this is XS, an XMAS scan. This is SX, which sends a FIN, a PSH, and a URG flag at the same time. So in what case do you use that? You use this to scan, use this scan to evade firewall that block a sync scan. That block is, yes, either a steel scan or a ping scan, uh, but don't correctly handle a TCP flag like FIN and URG. So you get a result like this. So you can try this. This should be like a take home for you. So you can try this and see how what happens in your environment. You can try that. This is how the results will look like. This is how the results will look like. Good. So I had as our training session. Now let's quickly look out for blue team. Let's see how we can how blue teamers can evade this particular how blue teamers can integrate this how this material also help blue teamers to do their to also help them do their work. Great. So now defending against pink sweep, we pick them one after the other. Remember, the first we did was a pink sweep that is -SN, both in lowercase. Now, the blue team's job is to detect, prevent, and respond to scanning activities that red teams or malicious actors might execute. Below are defensive strategies for each of these scan type. One, defending against a pink sweep. You have to, one of the mitigation is to disable an ICMP request on an external facing device, or at least limit the rates to them. Now, what it means is any of your system that is facing the internet, disable ICMP. Make sure that ICMP is not enabled. Disable ICMP such that so that when a red teamer is trying to do that from the outside, it is being disabled. So the person cannot actually do a ping sweep on your network. So that's what that is. So how do you detect that? You use network monitoring tools to identify unusual ICMP echo traffic from unfamiliar IP address. Now you use network monitoring tools like SIM tools like Waju. You can use them. You can use PFSense to also monitor your network and see if there's a request on this. Waju, there are configurations and rules in Waju that you can use to actually do that. So the next one was the sync scan we checked. How do you defend against this? You implement an IDS system or IPS to detect if there's a sync flood and block that attempt. You implement an IDS on IPS or an IPS, just like I said. Surika can do that. PFSense can also do that for you. Also, for detection, you have to monitor for incomplete handshake. Don't just set rules for complete handshake. Monitor incomplete handshake as well, because this sync scan does not complete the three-way handshake. We have discussed that in the beginning. So defending against TCP connect, or you call it yes, defending against connect scan. We talked about that also. Now, one of the mitigation you use a stateful firewall to block these connections attempts to unnecessary ports and services that are running. So if the port, I usually say if the port is not if no service is running, if the port is not needed, why keep it open? You just do that. So also in your SIM tool, you have to log all complete TCP connection to identify patterns and port scanning behaviors. Now this UDP also, we apply strict firewalls rule to block or restrict UDP firewalls. Ensure all unnecessary UDP services are disabled. They are not in use while enabling them, and implement rate limit. This rate limit is very important to do that. So you can also use and network monitoring tools to also detect UDP scans. Defending against version detection, keep services up to date. Keep services up to date. Update your operating system, the services that are running on them, keep them up to date, because that's where security patches are That's the security patches comes in. Keep services up to date with security patches and configure services to minimize or hide version banner. You can also hide the version banner because it is until I know the version of the service that is run on it, that's when I can, do I can exploit this particular versions. Now, also, it's very important you also monitor for version probing activities. You also monitor against that. So another one is defending against aggressive scan. That's the dash S, that dash A. That's the dash A that we looked at is the aggressive scan. So use an IPS to detect and block aggressive scans, particularly Nmap-A flag. You use an IPS to block that. I think in one of these videos, we'll see how to implement all these mitigations and detections rules that we have set, that we are recommending in this particular video. Now, you also use monitor for traffic spikes associated with multiple layer scanning behavior. The defending against these triplets is you ensure firewalls are RFC compliant and properly handle non-standard TCP flags. So this is a vulnerability if this is not handled properly. If TCP flags are not handled properly, then um, it's a vulnerability that one can exploit. Now, also detection, you set up your IDS to also monitor unusual TCP flags combination. Now, by understanding both offensive and defensive side of this scan, red teams can better target their attack while blue teams strengthen their defense. Yes. So I also added some additional, scans like running these both of them, the SS and the T2, like we spoke in the beginning. You see the explanations as well. I think there are about 5 of them that were I think I should talk about our virtual and in-person 90 days hands-on training. We usually do this it's once in 3 months. We hold this, and but now we have modified it to about 30 days. If you're coming in-house in person, then you'll be here in our facility where you get to do hands-on, and then you get to lay your hands on a lot of things. There's a lot of advantages when you come for in-house. This then for the virtual participants as well, the boot camps also is very rigorous, and it gives you hands-on, a lot of hands-on, and it just for a token of $1,000 for each participant. Thank you. So I also said we're going to look at some real-world example and case studies of this. But I think this video is long enough. It's already over an hour, and I wanted it to stop in 1 hour. So I want to thank you for taking out your time for this long. We've been able to look at a lot of things. We look at Nmap. The conversation has been around Nmap, and we looked at one of the my book, Mastering Nmap, which is for offensive tactics and for red team, offensive tactics for red team and defensive strategies for blue team. We have been able to see from this is the first edition of the book. We have been able to see how red teams use how a red teamer can safely use Nmap without being detected. Where we saw the pink sweep, that you call it pink sweep or also known as post discovery scan, which is a dash N, and we still saw the sample result. We also saw the TCP scan, a still scan, which is as SS. Please take note, these are case sensitive. They are case sensitive. We also saw the TCP connect scan, which is a dash ST. We also saw the UDP scan. Though this UDP scan did not complete because of time, we actually put, so you can try that. It's part of your take home in this particular video. We also saw the service version, yes, detection. We saw that, we did that. Very interesting, where we got the service version that run on a particular port that is open. we saw also an aggressive scan, a dash A, then we saw another OS detection scan. So just to say this, you can have you can combine dash A dash O like Nmap, sorry, dash A dash O to 192.168.1.1.4. You can combine these two scans and you will get results. You can combine these two scans, dash A, dash O. You can actually combine a lot of them to get um, you get results on that. So we also saw these triplets, how they work, and we saw their this. So in this video, I'm sure you have learned. You can reach me on this my LinkedIn profile. Just check me, Israel Greatman Joshua on LinkedIn, or you WhatsApp me on this number. I will always respond to your WhatsApp messages. Um, so this is the blue team strategy aspect where we saw strategies that we can use to monitor our network. So in the next video, I will continue from here where the real world examples, the case studies, and then how we'll exploit these vulnerabilities. Thank you for your time, and that will be all for this video. Enjoying your day, and please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with people. Please like, subscribe, and share, and so that you can always get videos like this when I drop them. Thank you. Bye for now.